Hi everybody, Julie here. I wanted to stop in for a little bit and share a little bit. I've done a couple other videos tonight, but I wanted to make sure I always try to, when I do videos, I usually do 3 or 4 at a time. Some are real short, some are longer. But I did want to share a little bit more on child advocacy. I am a child advocate. Before we get started, for those of you that are new to my channel, I always start out this way. I live in a home with my mom, my daughter, my granddaughter, and a couple crazy chihuahuas. So you might hear a baby crying, you might hear a dog barking. I don't know how to edit. I don't know if I'll ever learn. I'm very real. What you see is what you get kind of right now. And I've tried learning how to turn my pictures into videos. Haven't learned how to do that yet. So maybe I'll learn some new tricks and maybe I won't. Sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But, I always try to share something about child advocacy. And I live in Florida, and last week we had the case of a young lady, and I think her name was it Madeline or something like that, Soto or something like that. I can't remember her name. Actually, I do have my iPad. I might be able to look it up on Facebook real quick. Anyways, this young lady, her stepdad was finally arrested. So I'm assuming that's, they just found her body. I don't know if it was this week or I think it was this past weekend. And so it's just heartbreaking. Really, really heartbreaking. Let me see if I can find it in here on our news channel. Let's see. But you know what? I have to say this because I'm scrolling here right now, and there was just a post posted 2 hours ago, and it says a Florida gymnastic coach in jail following accusations that he had sex with 2 girls when they were underage. So, there's all kinds of stories like this every day. You hear of children being abused, and we have to find a way to stop it. Let's see. Oscar Leo, 38, was arrested Wednesday and charged with 2 counts of sex crimes with minors over 12 but under 18, while familial or custodial care, the Miami Herald reported. Leo sexually abused the 2 students from 2011 while he was their coach, prosecutors said. The victims were 13 and 16, according to the arrest warrants. Investigators say Leo developed a brother-sister relationship with both victims, which later turned sexual. Each charge comes with a $25,000 bond. He was scheduled to be arraigned Monday in Miami-Dade court, but the hearing was rescheduled for Tuesday morning. So, you know what? Every time I'm going through here, I find another story about something. So, let's see. And if you are new to my channel, I am a GAL, which stands for Guardian Ad Litem here in Florida, and some other states it's called CASA. And what I do is I visit children in foster homes and such, and I'm their advocate in court. So, I see all kinds of terrible things that can happen to children. And the state of Florida has a lot of problems, and Florida's not the only state. As a matter of fact, every single state in this country, every single country in this world has child abuse in it. And it's sad, and we have to do something to make a difference. Because children are suffering. Children are suffering every day. It's not going to show me that. It's not going back any further than that. Let me see. me try Google. When all else fails, try Google. Didn't mean to do that. Google. It wasn't Central. Madeline Soto. I was right. And she was a 13-year-old girl. And let me see if this says anything. Was in Orange County in Florida. The Orange County Sheriff's Office has confirmed the body found belongs to Madeline Soto, the 13-year-old girl who had been missing since Monday of last week. And this was... a body was found during a search for a missing Central Florida teen on Friday. So her body was found on Friday. The Orange County Sheriff's Office has confirmed the body found belongs to Madeline Soto, the 13-year-old girl who's been missing since Monday. Search teams with the Osceola Sheriff's Department or Sheriff's Office found Soto's body in a wooded area around 4:30 p.m. Friday. Kissimmee police said Soto's body was found near Hickory Tree Road. We had different agencies checking different areas for our missing person. Osceola County Sheriff's Marco Lopez said in the news conference on Friday. A tip led us to the area of Hickory Tree Road, about a mile and a half from where someone potentially said they saw some involvement in the case. What we did was send our units out here, and we discovered what appears to be a body. The body has clothing very similar to what the victim was last seen wearing, Lopez said in a news conference. We're waiting for forensic units to do their investigation to make sure that they secure the crime scene, Lopez said. The Kissimmee Police Department is leading the investigation in Soto's death. It is with a heavy heart I inform everyone that, as we expected, Madeline Soto is deceased. I'm thankful that she was found for the coordinated efforts of the Kissimmee Police Department, St. Cloud Police Department, Orange County Sheriff's Office, and the Osceola County Sheriff's Office that are able to bring some closure to the family. Kissimmee Police Chief Betty Holland sent a statement. This is a sad day for our community, and we mourn for the loss of such a young life. Over the past several days, investigators have been searching for the teen. Soto was a student at Hunters Creek Middle School. The Orange County Public School Superintendent released a statement on the teen's death. I'm heartbroken to hear that Orange County Sheriff's Office and the tragic death of our precious student, Madeline Soto. My thoughts and prayers go out to Maddie's family and to her school community, said Maria Valquez, the OCPS superintendent. To lose a child so suddenly and tragically is extremely difficult, especially for family and friends. Counselors continue to be available for any student or staff member dealing with the news. I ask that you keep the entire Hunter Creek's middle school community in your prayers as they grieve the loss of one of their own. According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, John Mina, the last known person with Soto before her disappearance, was 37-year-old Stephen Stearns, who is Soto's mother's boyfriend. Investigators said at around 8:30 a.m. on Monday, Stearns was believed to have dropped the teen off a few blocks from Hunter Creek Middle School, which OCPS confirmed is where Soto attends. However, further investigation revealed she was never dropped off near her school, according to Mina. When the girl's mother went to pick her up around 4:30, she learned that Soto had never attended school that day. I know as a parent, this is every parent's worst nightmare, Mina said. And then Stearns was arrested. On Wednesday evening, OCSO said Stearns, the last known person with Soto, was arrested by Kissimmee police. He's facing charges of sexual battery and possession of child sexual abuse material. During their investigation, OCSO said disturbing images were found on Stearns' phone, or disturbing images were found on Stearns' phone. According to the investigators, there were also attempts to delete evidence. Kissimmee police will lead an investigation into the sexual battery case because the alleged crimes took place at the family's home in Kissimmee. According to an affidavit from Kissimmee police, Stearns stated he had accidentally performed a factory reset of the phone on the same day Soto went missing. That's telling right there, folks. On Thursday, the Orange County deputies said they believe Stearns had information regarding the disappearance of Soto. However, he refused to answer any questions and requested an attorney. Stearns was transferred from the Orange County Jail to the Osceola County Jail Friday morning. The investigation led detectives to believe Soto was never dropped off near her school. Soto's backpack was found in a dumpster after investigators discovered video showing Stearns discarding items Monday. That's very telling as well. Investigators also say Stearns was spotted returning to the family's Kissimmee apartment complex around 8:19 a.m. with the missing teen in the car. According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, they believe Soto was already dead when Stearns was seen with her in the car. We believe she was already dead at the time and that Stephen Stearns moved her body during the early morning hours of that day. We have video evidence of Stephen Stearns discarding items in a dumpster in the apartment complex at Kissimmee at 7:35 a.m. on Monday, February 26, Mina said. Last night, detectives from the Kissimmee Police Department met with Madeline's mother and had to share the devastating news that although we have not found Madeline, we are confident that she is dead, Mina said in a news conference. Stearns made a court appearance on Saturday. Kissimmee police said he could face more charges after a thorough investigation is conducted. So it goes on to say a lot more, but I'm not going to read all of that. That's just one of many, many cases. And it's sad. It's very, very sad. One thing that I use that I really like, let me see if I can find it on here. When I first started being a guardian ad litem, my case manager at the time gave me this, and Florida did the Miami Herald did a study, and it's called Innocence Lost. And let me see. I want to tell you a little bit about this because all you have to do is write Innocence Lost in Miami Herald and you can download this. But basically I think it's somewhere between a 2 and 4 year period, they did a study with children, about children who were under the state's care. They may be in foster care, or they may be placed back with their parents. They had some kind of involvement with the state. And in that time, in that 2 to 4 year period, I think it was, there was almost probably 500 children that were killed in the state's custody. Why is this not loading? This is what it looks like. This has amazing information in it. It's got a bunch of different articles, and it's got every child's story that died in that time period. So over 500 children, their stories are in here. And at the time, this was published in March of 2014. And if this will load where I can tell you about it, if I wasn't trying to show it to you, it would come right up. But the stories of these children, it's just heartbreaking. Children that never have been put back with their parents were put back with their parents. Foster families that fell through the cracks and weren't properly vetted and everything. It's just mind-boggling. And don't think it's just a Florida thing. Watch the Gabriel Fernandez files on Netflix on how California failed this one child. He had been seen, teachers kept on turning in reports and they just kept on letting him go back to the parents. And this child lost his life in the state of California. The docuseries on that is amazing. A lot of these children are put back in the custody of parents who are on drugs. And, the state of Florida, what they did is they cut down on the protections for children. They were all about reunification, and they still are a lot of drugs. The main priority, no matter what, is to put these children back with their parents. But, it just, and there's a lot of great articles here. I'm going to read you, since it won't download the main story, because it's loading. I'm going to read you some of the articles. The role of drugs, the little victims of Florida drug binge, investigators stymied by their own lawyers, when everyone could see abuse except for those trained to prevent it, the huge red flag that sometimes gets ignored, protecting kids with hollow promises, a snake, a girl, and a mom who loved pills. That's a case study. In prison for manslaughter, a mom deals with regret and denial. Death by irresponsible parenting, bureaucratic inaction. As pills killed kids, the state shrugged. Florida's undercount of children abuse deaths. How Florida can learn lessons from Alabama. And they have a database. Let me see if the database will load. Maybe it'll load. 543 children who will never grow up. During a thorough 6 years, digging through 6 years of DCF files, the Herald found hundreds of children who died of abuse and neglect whose families had contact with the agency over the previous 5 years, far more than the state reported. The information is from death reviews, police reports, autopsies, and interviews. And that's the database. So you can hit the button and hit read their stories, and it starts coming up, and these kids, their stories pop up. And not only that, some of them it has the incident report, the parent's criminal history, the case report, the DCF rapid response report. And this one was seen all over the world, because this girl, her father, that man right there, threw her off the Tampa Bay Bridge. Everybody I know remembers seeing that story on the news. It was a big, huge thing. And then you just go to the next story. And there's over 500 stories here of children and, incident reports, parents' criminal history. And you can go on and on and on and read about each one of these. Now, I've read about a couple of these, so I'm gonna go through a few. Let me go through a few and see if I can find one. I'm gonna go through a few. There's even one where a whole family of children were killed. I'm gonna go because I've read some of these online already. All right, here's one. Marvin Mobley, 6 months old. This precious little baby. And this is his story. Jasmine Garman was a 19-year-old mother. Sorry, y'all. Raising 4 young children. At 6 months of age, Marvin Mobley was the baby. And the cause of death for this child was blunt force injuries, just so you know. And he died in June 18th, 2013. On June 14th, 2013, DCF received a report that nearly every day the mother leaves the children in the home unattended and goes across the street to hang out at a friend's house. The youngsters were found playing in the street where they can be hit by cars. DCF was also told that the children's parents were both using and selling drugs in their home. Though Garman tested positive for marijuana, an investigation did not verify her drug use as a threat to her children. As to her failure to supervise the kids, records suggest an investigator was more concerned with the lock on Garman's door than with her questionable supervision. The agency insisted Garman install locks the children could not open. The records don't say whether the agency insisted that Garman not leave her children in the home alone. While the investigation had been open for 4 days, Marvin was found dead in bed with his mother. Marvin's death remained a mystery until the medical examiner found that the infant had suffered a skull fracture and brain bleed that probably were at least 4 days old, as well as a torn lip, scalp bruising, and 3 rib fractures. When told about the skull fracture, the mother could not recall any time when Marvin would have sustained the injury, and then asked why anyone would think she would hurt her baby. Fatal child abuse, said the Department of Health's Child Protection Team. In a report, DCF said Marvin's death resulted from the mother's egregious behavior. Her remaining children removed from her custody. No one has been charged with Marvin's death. So in other words, no justice for that baby. And that's sad. Let's see. Here's one. Mitchell Peters. He was 1 year old. Such a cute little boy. And this is his story. The cause of death was blunt force trauma, head trauma. First, the mother and her boyfriend told investigators they found her son, Mitchell Logan Peters, in his crib, lifeless and surrounded by vomit, on the evening of August 25th, 2013. Then they said his injuries came from a fall from a chair. Later, they blamed a concrete porch. What investigators know for sure, the 15-month-old suffered a host of injuries, including 5 contusions above the left eyebrow or on top of the head, internal mouth injuries from the teeth lacerating the lips, and abrasions to the thigh. It was enough for police to call the case a crime. Both mother, Victoria Reyes, 23, and her boyfriend, Kevin Meadows, 48, were charged with child neglect and great bodily harm, and aggravated manslaughter, among other counts. And because an autopsy determined Mitchell was dead about 6 hours before someone called for help, emergency personnel said they found him pale and cold. Medical neglect charges were added. Reyes and Meadows told investigators they spent the day with the toddler. In the afternoon, the 2 adults were drinking alcohol. The mother reported she consumed 2 or 3 glasses throughout the day and reported she drinks 3 or 4 times a week. A DCF child fatality summary said Kevin reported drinking 12 shots of bourbon mixed with Coke before 4 p.m. that day, and that is his normal drinking pattern. At 4 p.m., Reyes took a nap. Meadows said he played with Mitchell a little while longer, then put him to sleep at about 5 p.m. before also taking a nap. 45 minutes later, Mitchell was found in his crib unresponsive. Mitchell's 2-year-old brother was not home at the time. The couple tested negative for drugs. They told investigators Mitchell's injuries were from a fall from a chair, an explanation challenged by the medical examiner. The ME stated Mitchell would have had to have fallen from an approximate height of 10 feet. The ME further stated Mitchell would have died shortly after receiving his injuries. The ME estimated the time of death as 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the day of the incident. The autopsy ruled Mitchell's cause of death as blunt force head trauma, and the manner was undetermined. The Department of Children and Families first investigated the Peters family with the birth of Mitchell. A report received on May 12, 2012 alleged Victoria Reyes and her son had tested positive for marijuana. He did not experience any withdrawal symptoms. Reyes told investigators she smoked one time about 10 days prior to giving birth, but had not done it throughout the pregnancy. She also denied smoking in front of her older son. The case was closed with not substantiated findings, but Reyes was referred for drug assessment and the Healthy Start program. The file does not document if those services were actually engaged. Reyes's boyfriend, Meadows, was named in 5 prior reports in which he was accused 4 times of beating and excessive corporal punishment of his children and stepchildren. In 2 of the cases, the findings were verified. Protective services were placed in the home in the first case. No services were provided in the other case, but the mother and children relocated to another state without Meadows. To me, that's very telling right now. Now, the mother, Victoria, was charged with child neglect with great bodily harm, obstruction of criminal investigation, giving false information to a law enforcement officer. And then the mother's boyfriend, Kevin, was charged with aggravated manslaughter of a child, child neglect with great bodily harm, obstruction of a criminal investigation, giving false information to a law enforcement officer. So those are just a couple stories. There's tons of them in this. So, you know, to me, it shows how broken the system is. And it's not just the state of Florida. Unfortunately, it happens in every state. It happens in every city. It happens in every country. I've read stories from all different kinds of different, you know, stories in different areas. And it's just something that we have to do. But one of the things that I'm real big on that doesn't happen is that these children are removed from their homes. And it doesn't matter what their parents do to them. They love their parents. They love them. They love their mom and dad. And they're taken away from them. And it's the most traumatic thing a child can ever go through. And many of these children are never offered one bit of counseling. That should be the first thing we do, is get these children counseling. But you know, some of the foster families I've worked with said that, you know, these kids are provided for under the state. They're under Medicaid, and none of the counselors will accept the Medicaid, and the few that do are horrible. A lot of the foster families I've worked with said these therapists or counselors are a joke. We're failing our children because they're suffering from PTSD from the abuse that they received and they never get treated for. And it's just there's this vicious cycle. You see parents that this was their lives, and then it's going on to be their children's lives because they're suffering from the same kind. Their children are suffering from the same kind of neglect and abuse that they did as children. And we can't fix this because the majority of the cases I have are due to substance abuse, which causes neglect and abuse. The substance abuse causes them to do so much. And until we get a handle, it's all hand in hand, until we get a hold on substance abuse and mental health, this is going to keep happening. So folks, we've got to stand up and we've got to help make a difference for these children. So I hope that gives you something to think about. It's sad. It's very sad that children have to go through this, and it takes all of us standing up and figuring out ways to help and everything. So I just hope that you will pray for these children, pray for every children that gets lost in the system, every children that's trafficked, every children that's abused by a family member, every children who suffers at the hands of an adult. Just pray for those children. And folks, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Please keep viewing my channel for more stories about child advocacy and how we can help children and the stories that go along with it. Also watch my other videos, inspirational videos, traveling videos. I sell Avon, so there'll be Avon videos, and of course I love Temu, so you know, when I get Temu, I do unboxing videos. So I hope that this has given you time to think and caused you to want to see what you can do to get in the fight against child abuse and neglect. I thank you so much for your time. God bless you and have a blessed night. Thank you. Bye-bye.